Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to 2 Minute Warning, episode 50 on Twitch Sports. This is and has been for the last 49 episodes, the high-paced American football podcast in which the time is in short supply, but the opinions are not. I'm Jez, also known as The Jez Show. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Matt, 2MW Matt, Tomorrow Matt. Other such names are available. How you doing?
I'm great. Yeah. New setup, as you've seen. Busy couple of days, busy couple of weeks. Kids are on their summer break. The weather's been absolutely roasting here in Wales. So yeah, it's been fun. I've got the fan on in the background. Thankfully, you can't hear it. But yeah, it's been a bit, warm. How are you?
I'm much the same, actually. I'm good. I'm happy. It's been Positivity Month for me. This is the first 2 Minute Warning we've had in Positivity Month, and some of these teams that we talk about today might be a challenge to stay positive, but if not,
yes,
money is for a good cause going to mine, so it doesn't matter terribly. I've been very busy, especially today. This is my third stream of the day, and I'm definitely ready for sleep, but not yet, because it's going to be a bumper episode today.
It is
extra long, and we haven't had a 2 Minute Warning for at least a month now that we think about it.
Yes, it has been. It has been a long haul between 49 and 50, but we have saved episode 50, and we spoke about it, and got to have something massive for the big 5-0.
That's
so
it. The off-season news hasn't really come as thick and fast as it does in previous years. I don't know what the difference is. Thank you very much for the 50 bits for episode 50, Tamsin. Much appreciated. It's very kind. And so we have saved episode 50 for when we've actually got some things to talk about, because wouldn't it have been dull if episode 50 was just, and there has been nothing really happening in the league. There was this one thing about this one guy who did this thing, and that's our episode. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
would have been a
5-minute episode.
not exactly fitting for what is my longest running podcast, certainly in terms of time. It hasn't got the most episodes, but it's been running the longest of any. Started all the way back in 2019 with me and Alex always be chatting, and then I had to go on my own for a bit, and then you came and joined me on episode 9. So this is your 41st episode, if my maths works.
So I'm 9 off 50 myself in terms of doing live episodes with you. It's going to be I'll get some big 50 banners when I do it.
We've also had some other guests along the way as well. We had Duff Valley, who's in the chat now, trying to win himself some points on the slots. We've had some of your Swansea Hammerhead teammates.
We've had Dylan in. Me and Dylan did an episode together where I took the main host, shall we say?
I forgot about
duties.
That. Yes. So actually, this isn't my 50th episode either. Because there was an episode that I didn't do. Maybe there was 2 actually. Was there one that you and Duff did without me? I can't remember now.
No, it was the 3 of us. We did a triple heads episode.
That's it. Yes. Retract bits. I was there though. I was producing and I was chatting in your ear. So.
On in the background, doing your usual, say this, say that, like they do with the now retired WWE Thunderdome, but that's a different sport.
Oh yes. And tune in on Tuesday evening for the main roster. Lots of thoughts about current WWE comings and goings. That's going to be an interesting episode. But main topic of conversation for us today, in fact the only topic of conversation for us, because we can't really fit anything else in, is NFL training camp, and the fact that it's opening for the majority of the league this week. There are a few camps that are already open, but we will get to that and get to you all of the information and all of the dates. We're going to go through each and every team in the league, all 32, when their camps open, where they are, and what we are expecting, really. The things we're looking for from camp, the improvements we want to see, the drama that's unfolding and how we'd like to see that resolved, all that kind of thing. I'm just going to discuss every camp for 2 minutes. And in the case of 2 teams, it'll be for 4 minutes because we each have a timeout that I'm sure we'll use at some point, which will give us an extra 2 minutes for that team. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So a little bit of a preamble.
Yes.
Clubs are allowed to carry 90 men into training camp. It's a 90-man roster. They've got to cut that down to 85 by August the 17th. So they've got a good few weeks to decide who are the 5 worst players in camp. That shouldn't be too difficult. 80 players by August the 24th, and down to 53, the usual 53 for an NFL roster, by August 31st, which is a week before the season begins. And you've got a little factoid that's close to my heart there as well.
Yeah, so just before we came on air, NFL.com on their social media shared that Sweetness Walter Payton would have turned 67 today. Definitely one of the best in the game. And as you said, close to your heart, Chicago Bear. I think all of his career, wasn't he? So
he was his entire career, and wouldn't be very old now. Even it's
no,
absolutely
not. Yeah,
gone
before his time. Before his time.
But yeah, it's good to recognise what would have been his birthday, and he will always be remembered as one of the best Chicago Bears of all time.
Yes,
and we'll get to the Bears a little bit later, but our first 2-minute period is going to kick off with the Arizona Cardinals, who will have their training camp at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The rookies have already reported. They reported on the 22nd of July, and the veterans, the main stars of the roster, will report on July 27th. Here's 2 minutes. Kick us off with your thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals training camp.
So the first one that comes out at me was Chandler Jones and whether or not he'll show up to camp. He's heading into the last year of his current contract, and a new contract still has to be negotiated. So, big name on that roster, uncertain before going into camp, and we're only 2 days away. I guess before the camps have opened to the vets, there's been a big deal about COVID vaccine. It's flying everywhere. This COVID vaccine program that the players have to take up it, otherwise if they infect other members of the players or coaching, etc., they are fined. Now, biggest name to come out of the Cards was DeAndre Hopkins, who may refuse to have it and even leave the team. Really, I mean, $60 million left on a 2-year contract. Bit bonkers. What do you think?
Yeah, well, regardless of whether DeAndre Hopkins actually comes back or not, I think that receiving core is going to be something to watch.
Yeah.
You've got DeAndre Hopkins there, hopefully. I think he will probably see the light and realise that he just needs to take the COVID vaccine and shut his mouth.
Yeah.
But you've also got AJ Green joining that team.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if he's still got it. And in general, I want to know if Cliff Kingsbury, the Cards head coach, is actually going to finesse the offense at all, or is it still just going to be relying on the athleticism of Kyler Murray, just giving him kind of free rein to run or pass it? Need a bit more game planning and involving the whole team, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what happens with all of that. JJ Watt, obviously on that team as well. See if he's still got it.
Yes. Yeah, that was a pickup, wasn't it? During the off season.
Yeah, it was one of the early free agency
pickups. Very. I know we talked about it, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we move on now. And next team, obviously, we're going in alphabetical order, and that's the Atlanta Falcons, and they are holding their camp at the IBM Performance Field in Flowery Branch, Georgia. Rookies and veterans, both sets report on the 27th, so we're 2 days away. Again, we'll put 2 minutes on the clock, and we'll discuss the Falcons.
I think the 27th is a big day across the league. That's when the most are reporting. We're going to hear that date a lot. The big name that people want to see from the Falcons is Kyle Pitts. They went with the flashy playmaker over adding some security to the O-line, or maybe even drafting a future quarterback. It was my suggestion that they do that as well, so I'm not knocking them for that. But Pitts needs to come into camp straight away and prove that he is worth that stock that has been placed in him. And working alongside that, there are a lot of veteran and rookie parts that just need to come together on that team. They had a lot of draft picks. They've done a lot in free agency. They just need to try and mesh that all together. It's going to be interesting to see who actually makes it to that final 53 at the end of August. And they may even still sign some new names and let them compete at camp as well. There's going to be a lot of competition in this camp.
Yeah. Well, I guess a name that popped out is a new defensive coordinator in Dean Pease. Like I said, new addition. He'll definitely bring much needed emphasis on the pass rush. Something that defense really did suck at last year. Cornerback AJ Terrell will be another exciting watch coming out of his rookie year. He did lose his off season last year due to COVID, and got his first pick in the game against the Vikings in week 6. So another one to watch. But yeah, I think the main story here at the Falcons is, as you said at the top, Kyle Pitts for sure.
And seeing if Matt Ryan can actually get the ball to him as he advances in age. Not
That's
something
going to be
that we mentioned, but it's a true one.
No, yes, absolutely, yeah. And I think that's, like you said, it's something that's going to be interesting to see how that develops in camp.
Onwards then to the Baltimore Ravens, who are holding training camp at the Under Armour Performance Center in Owings Mills, Maryland. Rookies reported all the way back on the 20th, so they've had a good week there already. The veterans report on Tuesday, and we've got 2 minutes. Let's talk Ravens.
Yeah, so one name that kept popping up is Bradley Bozeman. He's to move from left guard to centre, so kind of like a natural progression, I guess, in terms of an O-line player. And it's his preferred position at centre. So a bit of stability after Marshall Yanda's retirement last season. Ronnie Stanley will be out until week 1, so he's not going to get any training camp at all after having ankle surgery. So no camp for the All-Pro left tackle. In terms of the Ravens, I guess they've just got to not be so lax. I mean, they were a little bit lax last year and didn't produce some of the results which they should have produced, in my opinion. What do you think?
Complacent, I think, is the word. They really just relied on Lamar Jackson to carry the team, and there was no way that he was going to be able to continue the same production throughout last year, because people are starting to kind of work out his shtick. Especially opposing defenses, so they need to give him more of the playbook, I think, and not limit him in the same way that they have to just a running game. He can pass the ball, so they need to really finesse that in camp. It's a great time to do it. On the other side of the ball, their defense really needs to come together again. We need to find a linebacker who can really lead that defense. there's a good choice of good players who could step up into that leadership role. Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison, LJ Fort. One of those guys has got to step up. And I don't know who it's going to be. It's all to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. An interesting watch if you're a Ravens fan. Definitely.
Yes, indeed.
Definitely.
Yes. And it's all going on in the Acorn battles. We've had several battle royals, lots of betting.
Just keep seeing this airplane flying over and dropping acorns and race cars and a little dude from Among Us. Not too sure. I can't see what your name is.
That's Duff, the Among Us character. Moderators on my channel have the option to be the sus characters of Among Us. So
that's fine. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm also working on a series of American football acorns. I just haven't got that far yet.
Absolutely, so, acorns with helmets.
With helmets, yeah, different team helmets, different coloured helmets. But that's all to come. Cool. We digress. Yeah, as
we do digress because it's very distracting when you're live and all you can see is an airplane dropping acorns. But anyway, we move on to onto the Buffalo Bills. They are at the Ad Pro Training Center, Orchard Park, New York. It's not too far from where they are anyway. It must be outside their stadium, right? Rookies reported on the 20th. So again, they've been there 5 days now, and veterans in on the 27th. So not far away. What do you think of Buffalo Bills? Should we put 2 minutes on that clock?
I suppose we should. The clue's in the name of the show, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, I don't know what else there is to say about the Bills. I think they're the team who are really just going into training camp as a bit of a formality. They seem to have it all together. They just need to get through camp, stay healthy, and not regress, I suppose. All of the parts are there. Josh Allen continues to age like a fine wine. I'm sure that doesn't please you very well as a Patriots fan, Matt. I know there are other Patriots fans hanging out in the chat, but this is my pick in the AFC East. That's all there is to say about
that. So yeah. Trailing the news of rather trawling the news of the Buffalo Bills. It was quite interesting to see what they were up to, and it, like you said, it was almost like it's a formality for them to roll into out of the OTAs into training camp. Rookies have been there, so they're getting used to the surroundings, getting used to the coaching staff, coaches working with these rookies, getting them up to date with the playbooks, which is a formality. So my highlight, and you're going to hear me saying that plenty of times tonight, is be seeing this guy, a defensive end out of Wake Forest. He's a big guy, and he's called Boogie Basham. What a name! I think it's one of the greatest names that's come out of this draft. I kind of try to pick up some pretty cool names, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if this guy makes the final 53. I mean, yeah, come on, what a name!
Boogie Basham sounds like a name that Vince McMahon would give him because his own name is too dull. And it's like, no.
Yeah, or too formal. Yeah.
Damn it! You can't be Fred Jones here. You're Boogie Basham. Lucky Cannon. Oh my God, that's a name from the past. Lucky Cannon.
Lucky Cannon. Yeah.
Yeah. But it definitely sounds
never
like
a quarterback, though, was he?
No.
Good name for a quarterback, Lucky Cannon.
It would be a good name for a quarterback. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there we go. We can watch Boogie Basham and the rest of the Bills and see what they get up to at camp. They can do what they want. They can install all kinds of crazy nonsense if they want. They can have a good play.
Absolutely.
But a team that definitely needs training camp and has got a lot of work to do are the Carolina Panthers. They are meeting at Gibbs Stadium in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Rookies and veterans report on Tuesday. The Panthers are going to hold a joint practice with the Baltimore Ravens on the 18th of August. Love a good joint practice, so I'll be keeping an eye out for those on the NFL Network. They're good to watch. What do you think of the stories in Carolina?
So one that popped out is defensive end Brian Burns is being tipped to become one of the most disruptive linemen and soon to become a household name. Yeah, interesting. Definitely one to watch. If he's been hyped by not just obviously his team, his coaching staff, and those around the Panthers, but those in the media, maybe there's something about Brian Burns. We'll wait and see on that. Usual names to be mentioned, I guess. CMC, Christian McCaffrey. He's got to do his magic this year, or he's just going to go downhill. I know you want to talk about their pickup of a quarterback. So
absolutely,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I'm a believer in Sam Darnold. I'm on record saying that on this show several times. So I'm looking forward to him getting that opportunity. It starts at camp. Not sure he's really got the weapons set up around him, so he needs to get that rapport going with someone. I do believe they got Robbie Anderson over as well, potentially, if I'm remembering correctly. So it'd be good to see who he does develop alongside. You're right about Christian McCaffrey. He basically has been their team in recent years. And so he now needs to prove that he can play a whole season rather than missing several games due to injury. He needs to show that durability. You can build durability in camp. Missing camp last year was a big deal, or at least missing the preseason last year was a big deal for CMC. They're trending in the right direction. It's an exciting young team to watch, I think.
Yeah. Should be, like you said, interesting to see the Panthers. And it still doesn't sound right, the Panthers without Cam Newton. He's a Patriot, but there we are.
While now.
It has been a while. But we move on, and it's your team up next, the Chicago Bears. Hallis Hall is their practice arena, stadium, facility, whatever you want to call it, and that's
facility,
Lake Forest.
I think is the best word.
Yes, absolutely, facility in Lake Forest, Illinois. Never been there. You can tell me all about it one day. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock because I know you want to rave about the team.
I've never been to Lake Forest, Illinois either. When I went to the Bears training camp, they were, I can't remember where it was. They were in southern Illinois. I had to travel quite a distance from the northwest suburbs to get to camp. That's another story. And the big story for the Bears is Justin Fields and how much he is going to light it up at camp and really put pressure on the Bears brass to ditch any notion that Andy Dalton is the starter of this team. I don't think it really matters how well Fields performs in camp. I still think they're going to bullheadedly go with Dalton to start the season. But I'm just excited to see what Justin Fields can do. The Bears' social media is very good at the moment at highlighting big plays and big moments from camp. They did a lot of that in OTAs. So, Justin Fields, looking forward to seeing him. We've got some new pieces on defense that really need to work as well. We've lost some key people like Kyle Fuller, so there are others that need to step up. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so bold predictions coming out of the Bears. Thomas Graham Jr. will become the front runner at cornerback. Nick Foles is to be traded away and give the Bears some more salary cap. I think it's just over $6 million. As you said, Justin Fields is this, and the big prediction is that Justin Fields is to beat out Andy Dalton to quarterback one, QB1. I don't know. Like going off what you've told me about the coaching staff in Chicago, maybe they're gonna go. Yeah, we'll start Dalton and then we'll have Fields.
They do seem to want to protect Fields.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not sure that Fields is a talent that needs protecting. I think he's oven ready.
Yes,
personally,
absolutely. Yes.
We also have a joint practice with the Dolphins on the 11th of August, so that'll be
interesting to
yes,
see that and that's one thing I forgot to mention. So I do apologise, but the rookies were in camp yesterday. Veterans on Tuesday.
So Justin Fields is already swagging it up.
He is, yeah, and learning that playbook.
Well, swag is definitely something that's going to be on offer for our next team, I think. A bit of excitement for the Cincinnati Bengals, who are doing camp at their home stadium, at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Same as the Bears, the rookies reported yesterday. The veterans arrive on Tuesday. What are we looking forward to?
Cornerback Trey Waynes rather. So it's going to be a name to watch. He has had no games since signing over from the Vikings due to a pectoral injury. Rookie Jackson Carman, the Bengals passed on Penei Sewell to get Jackson Carman. And I don't think he even came out in our draft way back when.
No, he didn't.
So all eyes are on this guy as they've rated him a lot higher than a big college name.
Well, I don't even think it was a high rating, to be honest. They were so blinkered on wanting to reunite Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and that's for me the big story out of this camp.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're just going to be counting down and waiting on the edge of our seats for that first Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase touchdown pass in camp.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to prove that it was a good idea to pass on Penei Sewell, who was on everybody's list the top prospect on offensive line. They went with Chase instead. Mm-hmm. Should they have done that, or should they have lent towards the security of an offensive lineman, especially considering Burrow is coming off a big injury, and we've got to see how he is with his knee injury. Could be a grievous error. Could work out perfectly. The flashy could work, but it could be a massive error.
It could, and like you said, I think edge of your seats is the right way to put it with Burrow and Chase. It's going to be interesting. I mean, if they start lighting it up in training camp, then help when it comes to a game.
I think your father said it best in the chat. I have better protection than Joe Burrow. It's probably true. Yeah.
Probably true.
Bengals report he is healthy. Yeah, well, they would say that, Duff. They don't want to put a target on his back/knee, do they? Like, his knee's a bit dodgy. I hope nobody tackles him in it.
That'd just be be silly, wouldn't it?
Let's stick in Ohio. Everyone leave him alone, please. Go easy on the guy. Exactly. Let's stay in Ohio with the Cleveland Browns, who are training at the excitingly named Cleveland Browns training facility in Berea, Ohio. Exactly the same reporting as the last two. Rookies yesterday, veterans Tuesday. The Browns host a joint practice with the New York Giants on the 19th of August. I quite enjoyed this team. I have done for the last few years. What do you think is exciting about them going into camp?
So the unknown, and that's not his, wrestling name, Malik McDowell, hasn't played a game since 2016. Had an ATV accident, which kept him out since then. So has not ever played in the NFL since coming out of college. One to watch especially if he makes the team. Very highly rated back in the 2016 draft, 2016-2017 draft, that class. So I'm gonna have to go back and actually look at this guy properly. But yeah, apparently he's a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, it's going to be about a lot of pieces that they had that they have to keep. And I know you like you said you rate them higher than I do.
Yes, well, especially in terms of their quarterback, Baker
Yeah,
Mayfield. I think he's got it. I think he is the answer finally for Cleveland. They've gone through so many quarterbacks, but he's still got work to do. He still needs to continue
yeah,
to develop year on year. I think they've already picked up his 5th-year option, if I'm remembering rightly. So he doesn't have to worry about his job so much. That job is definitely his. But he does need to shut up the haters a little bit
yeah.
and continue to play as he did last year. One hindrance to that could be Odell Beckham Jr. He's coming back from yet another injury. Will he survive the season? Will he injure himself again? Are the injuries starting to add up? Does he still have it? These are all the questions we'll be watching for him. But I wasn't familiar with that Malik McDowell story, so I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. Have a look at the Browns. Their dedicated bits on the training camps. Yeah, if you can't, I'll send it over. It's fine.
Do. Yeah,
I've got a good story. This is about this guy having this ATV accident and not playing in the NFL. But yeah, there we are.
Yeah, your father said they never thought he never thought he'd play. So sounds horrific. But
yeah. Well, from what I read, it sounds horrific too. So yeah, but we move from Ohio and we go all
before
the
you do,
way.
I've got some sad news for you.
Go on.
We just had a battle royal in the chat, and it came down to a battle of Swansea Hammerheads, and you just got murked in the final 2 by Bazinga Ludlam.
Oh, it's fine. He plays more football than I do now as well. It's fine.
Now you may resume.
I like Bazinga Ludlam. He's a good man. Yeah, he's in fairness, he's had a cracking season for the Swansea Hammerhead so far. But that's Bafra, and we'll get onto that. Maybe not tonight, but on the next episode of 2 Minute Warning, where I can just gloat about recent results. It's fine.
Gush. Yeah.
I can gush. Yes. Anyway, we go from Ohio all the way down to Texas, to the Dallas Cowboys, and they're at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas. What do you think? 2 minutes.
Well, they've already reported because they're in the Hall of Fame game, and they've got the Hard Knocks crew there. They're filming it all. So we're going to get our first camp looks really from these guys. I think Hard Knocks starts next week.
Yes, it's around about next week. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. They've really got to work on defense. Their defense was a laughingstock last year and were the obvious candidate for ridicule. They've got to make rapid and very obvious improvement. They've put some work in. They've drafted rookie Micah Parsons, who we both rated very highly in the draft. Hopefully he can settle in and put some arses on the ground, as it were. They've got a new defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn, who, aside from being a laughingstock as the head coach of Atlanta, was largely responsible for the Seattle Seahawks Legion of Boom. So maybe he can return some of the corner backs to that form. And we've got Dak Prescott, can't speak, back from injury. He's looking all right so far in the video I saw of him this morning. So we shall see.
Yeah, and they have, like you said, Hard Knocks there, and they have the earliest joint practice with the Rams on the 7th of August, so not too far away to see this joint practice. The thing that's sticking out, development of rookie talent Micah Parsons. Like we said, something I look forward to seeing how he fits. But early signs, as they're already there, about Micah is he's doing really well and signs are good. Nashon Wright, no draft pick, was question more. He's done really well in the OTAs, and yeah, one to watch as well. I know I went over my time as well because I'm keeping my eye on the clock over here.
I've definitely got to keep you to time today because
otherwise we'll be here till bloody midnight.
That's right. 32 2-minute periods.
It adds up, doesn't it? We could do some basic maths, but it's too late on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
But even I can do 32 times 2. It's fine.
Next time you go over, I'm just going to tell you to shut your mouth and start.
Know your role. Yeah.
And we move to the Denver Broncos now, who are at the UC Health Training Center in Englewood, Colorado. Rookies reported on Friday, yesterday, and the veterans are there on Tuesday. 2 minutes. Let's talk GGs.
Yes. So, interesting news about the Broncos was that the quarterback group, there's three of them in there that are bigger names, were told to get to camp 4 days earlier than was originally scheduled. So they're already there, and they were there a day before the rookies. Interesting that Bridgewater, Locke, and Rypen are to have time with the coaches to get the playbook down. Just a bit, whatever. You'd think, maybe not Teddy Bridgewater, but,
Oh, it's definitely the main story.
Drew, it's a huge story. I mean, it's just you usually don't hear of it with the quarterbacks being singled out and told to come early.
It's just such an open battle in Denver. Yes. I couldn't really put a wager who's going to be the starter other than not Ripien. It's going to be Locke or Bridgewater. There's a lot of work to go until you can work out who that is. So I'm not thoroughly surprised that they've been asked to report early. They've got a lot of work to get done. Make sure everybody is up to speed with the playbook, and then let them go out there and compete properly in camp. So that doesn't surprise me. Von Miller's back.
He is.
And they drafted Patrick Surtain, and they signed Kyle Fuller from my Bears. So defense is going to be a big focus as well.
I think I've seen Patrick Surtain II, full title there. Is going to be exciting. He was highly rated in the draft. We rated him quite highly in our mock draft.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that defense does look stacked now. But yes, this QB battle is going to be interesting to watch and see who comes out on top.
Yep. Unless by some miracle the Broncos actually get their way and Aaron Rodgers is traded there during camp.
Don't know. That's filth. Not that I'm a Packers fan. A Packers fan might start throwing things at the screens now.
And it's a story for the team after next.
It is. So we now move on. We're going down to Michigan and to the Detroit Lions at the very well named Detroit Lions training facility in Allen Park, Michigan. Rookies reported on Friday. Friday. No, yesterday. Saturday.
Both is true. 24th. Oh no, Saturday.
Both is true.
Yeah. I said Friday for the Broncos. I'm an idiot too. There you are.
And then the veterans come in on Tuesday, as per a lot of the other teams. But yeah, we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions for 2 minutes.
I'm very tired, Matthew. I don't know what day it is. Now, Detroit Lions, Jared Goff fell from grace in Los Angeles, obviously. I don't rate him. Again, I'm on record saying that I'm not the biggest Jared Goff fan. I'm not even sure the Detroit Lions see that much in him. I just think they wanted to get a bit of value from Matt Stafford and trading him out. Yeah. But this is an opportunity for Goff to redeem himself. Can he take it? There are no real receivers of note in Detroit for him to really build a rapport with, unless Brashad Perriman and Tyrell Williams are actually ready to step up. I'm not sure. They got Penei Sewell, so that's a start. At least he'll be slightly better protected than he was in. I nearly said St. Louis. That's how tired I am. In Los Angeles, and we've got new head coach Dan Campbell. And if nothing else, I hope the cameras follow him intently around camp, because we should get some cracking lines from that guy. He's a comedy
We should,
artist.
yeah. He is. Like you said, Penei Sewell is my pick to look out for in this camp, as well as Jared Goff, to see how he settles in the Motor City. It's kind of all changed in Detroit. I mean, they had what's his name, beardy face out of New England,
Matt Patricia.
Matt Patricia as their head coach last year, and he got the sack because he made Detroit suck even more than they already did. But will anything change? I think that's the question here. Is does making all these changes in the coaching staff, whether it's just I'm not too sure if the positional coaches, etc., but changing the head coach, does that change anything? Not sure. Jared Goff, we don't rate him. I'd say no. I don't think anything changes in Detroit.
It's definitely going to be a development year for the Lions. So if nothing else, we'll get to see who from the lower echelons steps up in Detroit and takes that starting role. Detroit are famous for just picking up people off the street and making stars out of them, and then they go somewhere else and do an even better job. So we'll see. Yes. Maybe that'll happen again this year. And we move from one NFC North team to another. Obviously, I'm super excited to talk about my 32nd favourite team in the league, the Green Bay Packers. Staying positivity month. They are at Schneider Stadium in De Pere, Wisconsin. I'm not sure they've ever been there before. I've never heard of that.
No.
The rookies did report on Friday, because that's the 23rd, not the 24th. I can do time. And the veterans are going to report on Tuesday. They host a joint practice with the Jets on the 18th of August. And are there any big stories to talk about in Green Bay? I don't think anything's happened in the off-season.
One major thing's happened, and this is the real story here in Green Bay, and it's not even really in Green Bay. It was in Milwaukee. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers won an NBA title with his minority stake as an owner with the Milwaukee Bucks. Is this the last title this guy is ever going to win?
No.
Probably. So he's got a nice shiny NBA trophy. I don't know what they call the NBA trophy, but there we are. I'll find out one day. Big ball, big golden ball. There we are. We'll keep it family friendly. Do they now need to focus on Jordan Love? Probably, because even if Rodgers is there this season, they've got to go somewhere else next season. Josh Myers will need to step up in camp at centre, with veteran centre Lindsley now in LA. And I think he's at the Chargers.
Oh, I did not know they moved on from him. Oh, that's news to me. Okay.
So it's a bit of a shift. But yeah, I know Green Bay is your favourite team.
But my 32nd favourite team in the league, Matthew.
Let's start a number.
I'm loving the positive comments in the chat. No, talk about Detroit for another 2 minutes. Love that. Rodgers is the story. Will he actually turn up on Tuesday? For all of the nonsense that's happened so far, my bet is yes, because it's going to cost him too much money to not turn up. So he'll turn up. He'll probably be throwing his toys out of the pram constantly between now and the start of the season and trying to make things difficult for the Packers. But he'll be there. That's my bold prediction. And we'll see what happens, I suppose. Yeah. Bazinga Ludlam, seeing the Packers fall apart is a thing of beauty. Testify. About time the Cheeseheads endured mediocrity for a decade or so. Absolutely. I'm glad you threw that out there, because obviously I couldn't in Positivity Month, but All
absolutely.
of these things are absolutely true.
Yeah. I don't know, before we do move on, they are, going to be missing out on Devontae Adams as well, because, he's having a tantrum too. But there we are. We'll move on.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about the Packers woes again on this podcast.
Yes, yeah. So we go back to Texas and to the other Texas team, the Houston Texans, and they are the Houston Methodist Training Center in Houston, Texas. Rookies report today, so Sunday, and the veterans come in on Tuesday. Lots of big questions around the Texans. Let's put the famous 2 minutes on the clock and let's discuss the Houston Texans.
So things have changed since I wrote the notes for this show last night, and apparently Deshaun Watson is actually going to report, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I saying that, I don't know what else he could have done. Like, he wants a trade, fine. He's got all of his legal problems. That's going to cause issue. But I suppose the only thing he can do is report and either wait to be sent home for the legal issues or traded. So that's all we're left with.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be focusing on the QB battle underneath Watson. There are 3 options. Davis Mills, who they drafted, Tyrod Taylor, who I think is probably going to walk away with the starting job, and Jeff Driscoll, whom I have a nickname for that is not family friendly, so I can't say. Texans, what an S show,
yes,
shall we say?
Yes, yeah. So, like you said, before we came on this afternoon, the big news that was all over, it blew up on social media that, like I said, quarterback Deshaun Watson will report for camp. He'll be tested for COVID and join up with the team. Just to avoid being fined $550,000. Surely the guy can spare $550K. But yeah, so he's going to be more than likely. I can't see him being traded because no one's going to want that junk.
Yeah.
And he'll more than likely be paid to not play in Houston or anywhere else this season, as per Twitter sources, Cypher, Rappaport, and PFT, just to name a few.
Yeah. Going to be one to watch.
Sounds like a dissertation, that did.
It was a bit, yeah. In conclusion, I posit that Watson will ride Pine, and everybody will be happy with that situation.
Absolutely.
Case dismissed.
Absolutely.
I rest my case.
Yes.
Yeah. In closing.
Yeah.
Right. Back to somewhat normality. The Indianapolis Colts will report at Grand Park in Westfield, Indiana. The rookies reported yesterday, 24th, and the veterans on Tuesday. I don't think we've had a single team yet who don't report on the 27th, other than the Cowboys, who are already there. Crazy.
Yeah, and that's because they got a film crew there.
Yep.
That's
they
the only
host
reason.
the Panthers in a joint practice on the 12th of August, and again, we've got one main quarterback story to talk about.
We do. I know it kind of involves this guy, rookie quarterback Sam Erlinger. Lost his brother just before he was drafted. So had a few problems going to the OTAs, but now coming to camp yesterday rather. He's got the potential to win QB2 through camp and learn something from Carson Wentz, right? But yeah, I don't see him learning anything. Eyes will be on Quitty Pay. I know we rated Quitty Pay quite highly in our draft.
Yeah.
So it's going to be that's where my eyes are going to be is seeing how Quitty Pay develops. It's a decent team to start with, I guess. And maybe if things don't turn out, a couple of years down the line, he'll be somewhere else winning rings. Yeah, there we go. That's my thoughts.
I think Kweti Paye has a real opportunity to be on a good defense here in Indianapolis. They were already a good defense. I think the focus in camp is going to be on the offense, though. And yes, the QB situation with Carson Wentz, who they have anointed as their new leader to take them into the future with Philip Rivers retiring. The question is the guy done, or were the Eagles the problem all along? If you believe the form of the last few games of the season for the Eagles, it was Wentz, because Jalen Hurts was able to step in and make something out of the terrible receiving core that they had there. But Wentz really doesn't have the same excuses in Indianapolis. He's got an exciting receiver core to work with. T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman, 3 stellar names. Yeah, he's just got to get straight in there and build some chemistry with them, I think.
Pretty much. But yeah, that's that was the Colts. And we go now to Jacksonville, Florida, and to the Jaguars, because that's where they're based. They are in, and it sounds like a TV advert. They're in the Dreamfinders Homes practice complex in Jacksonville, Florida. Rookies went in on the 20th, so they've been there almost a week. Veterans in on Tuesday. There's no details on the joint practice yet. Let's discuss the Jags.
I think the only joint practice the Jags are going to have is with the All Elite Wrestling roster, because they're loving crossing over the Jags with that roster at the moment. But that's another story. And this is a new era in Jacksonville under Trevor Lawrence. Is he the real deal? He's been the first overall pick for about 6 years now. So we need to find out whether he actually has it and if he can stay healthy. The other big story for me is Tim Tebow and his return to football at tight end. Can he cut it at tight end? Is he going to make it onto the final 53? We've got a month to find out. And much like we had with the Bengals earlier, we're waiting for that first touchdown. We're just waiting to see a connection between Trevor Lawrence and Tim Tebow. Yeah. Or maybe the other way around, just for the lols of it. Tim Tebow to Trevor Lawrence.
Trick play. Call it Jacksonville special. But yeah, this is definitely the start of something special. That definitely remains to be seen. Trevor Lawrence will be on the radar of pretty much everyone, and it's going to be in everyone's eyes between now and week 1 of the regular season. He's surely he's going to start, but who knows? They've got Tim Tebow in the building. He could be QB1 and not tight end. But yeah, surely Tim Tebow, just for the name and the
the star
Tebow
power
stance
that comes with
the star power, and testify and all that stuff. But maybe Tim Tebow makes the 53, and there's a bit of hilarity in it all, after all.
Absolutely. And speaking of hilarity, your father asked, but who will bat 196 for the Mets minor league side? Well,
he do that on his days off.
he couldn't really have been much worse. That's unfair. He did okay on the minor league side. Breaking into the major leagues is very difficult in baseball. But yeah, there you go. Moving
Absolutely.
on to a very different looking team, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are at Spratt Stadium Complex in St. Joseph, Missouri. The rookies reported on Friday the 23rd. Veterans report on Tuesday the 27th. There or thereabouts in Super Bowl contention? Question mark. What do we think?
Yeah, maybe not. Something of a rebuild, I think, is going on here with the dethroned champs. Will camp aid the rebuild? I guess that's what the camp's there for, is to rebuild pieces already there and pieces coming in. Yeah, my bit of news here, and it's a little bit of a fun fact that came out on social media, is that we've been saying Travis Kelce's name wrong all the time, and it's not Kelsey, it's just Kels. And it's spelt as in Kels, K-E-L-S-E, but he spells it K-E-L-C-E. But yeah, it's Travis Kelce.
Right.
There we are. Not Travis Kelce.
Okay.
I learned it. There we are.
I don't
My
really,
news about this
don't really know how to follow that. Do the Chiefs have an offensive line, I suppose, is my question. There's been a lot of movement and strange releases happening on that offensive line. They lost Eric Fisher to the Colts. They did acquire Orlando Brown from the Ravens. They have lost Mitchell Schwartz. They lost Kalichi Asemele. They lost Stephen Wisniewski. There's a lot of questions about that offensive line. Mahomes can be as good as he wants, but if he's not upright because he's got no offensive line, then they're going nowhere. That's a big story in camp for me. We're also waiting for a wide receiver 2 to step up. Will Mecole Hardman finally be that guy? Will it be rookie draftee Cornell Powell, free agency pickup Demarcus Robinson? Again, as good as Mahomes is, he needs another person other than Tyreek Hill to throw to. So you're right. It's a bit of a mini rebuild, or at least get stuff sorted in Kansas City.
Travis Kelce. There we are.
Little cute girl says she needs more Pats in her lives. Well, this is alphabetical, little cute girl. You've got to wait your turn, all right?
Yeah,
hang on. Yourself.
We're almost there in the ends, all right?
Yeah, we're moving on to the L's now. That's somewhere near N. I don't know. I don't know the alphabet. And Bazinga Ludlam says that regardless of how you say his name, he's still only the second best tight end in the league. You're right. Jimmy Graham is clearly vastly better. I fully agree with you.
Rob Gronkowski.
Now let's move on. Let's just drop that trigger and get the hell out.
Yes, so we're moving to Vegas now. Not literally. It'd be nice, I suppose. But to the Las Vegas Raiders. And they are at the Intermountain Healthcare Performance Center in Henderson, Nevada. Rookies reported yesterday, so that would be Saturday. And veterans are in on Tuesday, the 27th. But no details on a joint practice either. But we'll see. Yeah, 2 minutes. Let's go.
That was a very lacking effort 2-minute call there, but you need to work on that.
Absolutely.
Vegas is a strange one because they seem to have all the parts, but nobody wants to step up and put it all together. So either camp's going to be dull as they just kind of tread water and do what they've always been doing, or we'll actually see some people step up and be exciting. So I suppose Darren Waller is the only real excitement, another fantastic tight end. But they've got Henry Ruggs III, Hunter Renfrow. One of them needs to step up, especially now that Nelson Aguilar is gone. And I've put in my notes, Carr, ?
Oh.
Is he worth anything? I know that you don't think so.
No. But yeah, Nelson Aguilar, as you mentioned, he's gone to New England. So that's a nice pickup for my team. Quarterback Nathan Peterman will be hoping to put together some decent tape as he's going to be likely needing to move on from the Raiders.
The Peterman.
With Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota going head to head for this QB1 spot. I'd quite like to see Marcus Mariota win it, to be honest. I highly rated him when he first came into the league. I even put him as my starting QB on fantasy football way back when, and he got a lot of points. He was fairly decent, but it kind of just drifted away, and I don't know where he went. And now he's popped up in Las Vegas. There we are. But yeah, them two are going to be ahead of Peterman. Does he get enough opportunity to put tape together to go to teams? Look, I'm a good QB. Maybe not. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all these pieces and no direction.
Obligatory Peterman threw more interceptions than completions in a single half reference. Yes, that should not go without saying. Thank you, your father. And Bazinga led them. The Raiders' biggest issue is their coach, but they're tied to Gruden's insane 10-year contract.
Yes, it is a bit of an insane contract.
It is. It's also a bit insane that their drafting hasn't improved under Mike Mayock, but what can you do? I don't know.
Work needed.
they're just a bit broken, the Raiders.
They are.
And I don't see it changing. Moving on to LA. First of two trips to LA. The Los Angeles Chargers are at Jack Hammett Sports Complex in Costa Mesa, California. Rookies and veterans both report on Tuesday the 27th. They have a joint practice with the 49ers on the 19th of August. What do we think about the Bolts?
Well, big pick for me out of this is offensive tackle Rashawn Slater. Definitely be interesting to watch here. Although he remains currently unsigned at present, one of 15 out of the draft class of 21, going into camp where the team haven't offered him his rookie contract. So that's pretty new to me, not seeing these players signed after OTAs going into camp. I know you mentioned before coming on air, it's kind of, it can be normal, but I'd want to be signed going into camp. Maybe it happens before Tuesday. Maybe they're waiting for Monday. But Drew Brees has a lot of praise for Justin Herbert over on Twitter. I know you like Justin Herbert too.
I do like Justin Herbert
as a quarterback.
Yeah. And he showed a lot of promise last year, so he still needs to improve on that, but at the very least duplicate that going into year two. And people like me, mostly me, really want him to light it up in camp and show that he is the answer for the Los Angeles Chargers. They've got lots of rookie draftees. Obviously, a lot of these young teams had a lot of opportunity for rookies. How many of them will remain on the final 53? Can they fit in that team? They've got a new head coach in Brandon Staley. How will he handle the reins in LA? I personally wasn't on the it was all Anthony Lynn's fault that the Chargers were suffering, and in fact I didn't really think that they were suffering that much last year. So we'll see how different things are under Staley, but my suggestion is not very much.
No. Yeah, but as you said, we're onto our second trip in LA, and with the Rams, who are in Microsemi Field, Irvine, California. Rookies reported today. Veterans in on Tuesday, and they host a joint practice with the Las Vegas Raiders on the 18th of August. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock. Let's be positive about it, and let's talk about the LA Rams.
Well, I think it is positive for them because they've jettisoned Jared Goff, and they've got in Matt Stafford, who we've talked about as being beleaguered by being in Detroit. I'm sure he is very happy to be out of there in the warmer climate of Los Angeles and generally California. So the questions are around him. Will he fit into this new system? Were the issues that he had Detroit's fault? Yes. Or was it to do with him? Can he stay healthy? Issues around injury with Matt Stafford. He is getting on in football terms. That'll be something to watch. But the Rams are definitely in win now mode. They've put all the pieces together. It's been that way for a year or two, and they really need to put the pedal to the metal before the likes of Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey reach ends of contracts and need big money. They're not going to be able to keep all of the talent they've got. It has to happen now.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And if the Rams do manage to put all these pieces together and get both sides of the ball clicking, then I'm pretty sure they can do something serious this season. Yeah, I think with Matt Stafford under centre, I have a very good chance of doing that with the targets that he has around him. Definitely excited to see Matt Stafford playing with a decent O line in front of him. Yeah, it's gonna be different to see Matt Stafford in a different colour because he's been in Detroit so long, and wasted away. If you're a Detroit fan, I just kind of apologise not. Yeah, he was wasted talent in Detroit, and I think he's got something to prove.
What does that thing exist? A Detroit Lions fan?
No, I'm not too sure if I've seen any recently. To be
What is
honest,
this
I don't know.
apparition?
I don't know of one personally.
I
I'll say that.
do,
Ah, poor you.
but
You've got to associate yourself with a
they're
Lions fan.
they're in Los Angeles now,
Yes,
so maybe they'll follow suit and follow Stafford. I don't know.
maybe.
Okay, going from one coast all the way over to the other. We move to Florida for the Miami Dolphins. They're at the Baptist Health Training Facility in Miami Gardens, Florida. Everyone reporting on Tuesday. They have a joint practice with the Falcons on the 18th of August. Lots to talk about, lots to watch in Miami. Kick us off, Matt.
Hmm.
Here are 2 minutes just for you.
Yeah. So, where does this team go? Yes, there's some good picks in the draft, right? And yes, there's some talent already on the roster. Uh, Tua. I don't know what's going to happen with the guy. I mean, they've got rid of Fitzpatrick,
Mm-hmm.
who was probably a good. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But they don't have the leadership of a veteran quarterback there, with the experience that Ryan Fitzpatrick has. Tua is going to have to answer a lot of questions, and maybe, just maybe this year, the guy gets answered and found out. I mean, he wasn't prolific anyway, um, but there's some flashes of brilliance there, some not so much. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
Miami Dolphins.
I believe in Tua, but I'm not sure that the coaching staff in Miami believe in Tua.
Mm,
One sign that maybe they do is that they let Fitzpatrick out the door. I think that benefits Tua because he doesn't
yeah,
have that presence kind of in the background going, well, if you mess up, then we can just put Fitz in and that's fine.
yeah,
This is definitely Tua's show, at least for this year. And they've got a lot of talent around him now. They've drafted well. They've done well in free agency. They've just got a lot of young talent that needs to gel together. And we'll probably see some fairly shocking cuts coming when we get down to the final 53. There is
yeah,
too much talent on that team to last through to September. So we'll have to follow this one closely and see who survives, who Tua can work with. Does he
yeah,
continue to develop, or is this going to be his last season in Miami?
yeah. Plenty of teams that'll take the guy. I guess he's talented. He is talented. I'll give him that.
I'm not sure he gets a chance somewhere else if it all goes wrong for him this
Mm.
year. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, true. Um, but that was Miami, and we'll see how that works out. And we move over to Minnesota, to the Vikings, and they're out of Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center in Eagan, Minnesota. Rookies were in today, veterans in Tuesday, as per a lot of other teams.
Mm-hmm.
They're hosting a joint practice with the Denver Broncos on the 11th of August. Interesting things going on in Minnesota. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock and let's give the Vikings a good chin wagging about.
That was slightly more enthusiastic. I'll give you that one.
Absolutely.
So Patrick Peterson's with them now. He's a new addition. wonderful, wonderful talent. Advancing in age a little bit. Does he still have it? Will things work for him in Minnesota? Can other people step up around him? Defense was a problem last year for the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is the guy in Minnesota, but there seems to be an heir apparent now. They've drafted Kellen Mond at QB. Does Kirk Cousins maybe need to watch his back? If Kellen Mond comes in and lights up camp and does really well, then perhaps they don't want to keep the expensive contract of Cousins next year. So that will be one to watch. And the other conversation is, can Dalvin Cook stay healthy? He is arguably, especially in my opinion, one of the best running backs in the league, but only if he's on the field.
Yes,
He hasn't been on the field consistently for me.
And I think the big name in their camp out of the rookie draft class is Christian Darrisaw. Again, we from what I remember, we rated the guy fairly highly, but didn't see him going to Minnesota. But yeah, biggest name, one to watch in my eyes. I know you mentioned Patrick Peterson. He's got another veteran defensive end coming in, Bashord Breland. They've signed him in at defensive end from Washington. So yeah, it gives them much needed experienced veterans in that defensive line, which they're going to need.
Pico's joined us, feels very strongly. Kellen Mond will not play a snap over Cousins, he suggests.
Wow.
No equivocation there.
Wow.
Your father, I've always said that Dalvin Cook's production when off the field is terrible. Indeed. I mean, the fun fact, I have the same number of rushing yards as Dalvin Cook when Dalvin Cook is not on the field. And that's a fact you can take to the bank.
Absolutely. Me too.
And now our next team, finally, is the New England Patriots. But we unfortunately need to take a little break, our Twitch-mandated commercial break. So stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and then maybe we get to the New England Patriots.
Maybe we'll call it a night, shall we?
We'll see how I feel. Maybe the Patriots can wait till last, you know. You've heard of saving the best till last in the past. Maybe now we save the worst till last. But find out what happens in 2 minutes as we go to commercial here on 2 Minute Warning. Stay with us, especially if you want some Patriots. Welcome back to 2 Minute Warning. We took one for the team during the commercial break, and we've already discussed the New England Patriots. We just thought we'd get that out of the way. I know you couldn't hear it, but that's probably for the best, really. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's like it's premium content, isn't it? You know, they have to pay like $32.99 or something like that to hear the
That's
Patriots
how it works.
section.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not called Patreon for a reason. It is, you get Patriots only content when you subscribe to Patreon. Yeah, you get the joke. No, we need the Pats. Nobody needs the Pats. Nobody needs the Pats. The question is, how many Newtons will Cam last? Well, I mean, if we're going to have fantastic puns like that from people like Pico, maybe we do need to go ahead and discuss the Patriots. I mean,
yeah.
What do you think, Matt? Should we talk about the Patriots?
Yeah, go on. Give the crowd what they want.
Give the people what they want. Well, if I'm giving the people what they want, that's no Patriots. So you've got to pick your phrases here. Do we want the Patriots or not?
Let's go. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock in a minute.
Right. Yeah, in a minute. But once I've done the preamble, give me a chance. So they are in their home stadium, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Rookies have been there for a while, reported on the 20th. Veterans on Tuesday. They'll host the Giants on the 25th of August, which will be a fun experience for all, given the history between the Patriots and the Giants. The floor is yours, Mr. Patriots fan. 2 minutes.
Yeah. So big name free agents coming in. Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. I kind of like Kendrick Bourne's social media. It's quite funny because he's got green hair. So they're exciting vet receivers. N'Keal Harry. Now this is also a funny story. Wants to be traded, but has nobody wants to pick the guy up, and now he's having a tantrum. But you know, there we are. Rookie Trey Nixon will probably have a breakthrough because N'Keal Harry's having a dicky fit. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, another pair of names there that have been around the league a long time. Interesting to watch how they do as well. It's all changed in New England, apart from the coaching staff. We've had one guy say he's not going to have the COVID vaccine, so he's left. Oh, sorry, we've had two that have left the coaching staff in positional coaching responsibilities because they're refusing the COVID vaccine. So au revoir. But yeah, no Edelman anymore, as we've said. Yes, go on, do your worst.
You know, you suck now, so I can happily talk about the Patriots. The good news for you is you're going to have all of those COVID opt-outs back. You lost a lot of them last season, so they're back in camp now. Everybody is going to report. Nobody across the whole league is opting out, so
no,
player-wise at least, not in the traditional sense. We return to our usual program of Bill Belichick versus the rules and how he can shirk those in any way possible. And obviously, we've talked about Cam Newton a little bit, but we're watching whether Mac Jones swoops in and takes his job. Yes. I say no. I don't rate the guy at all.
I rate Mac Jones, but I don't think he's QB1. Not yet, anyway.
All about the tight ends, says your father. Yes, I mean, with Hunter Henry in there and a whole host of other tight ends, I think you're right. Yes. I think whether we see Gronk-like performance from any of them. Bazinga Ludlam, who knows a lot about Kendrick Bourne, obviously coming from the 49ers. Bourne is a great red zone threat, and I hope he has a great season, but he's also good for a few drops each game. Yeah. People need to step up in New England. That's really all it comes down to.
Yes. Just like I said, it's been a couple of years now, isn't it? So yeah, why not win the Super Bowl this year?
Well, there we go. Thank God we got that one out of the way. We can move on to other, more favourite teams now. I will say the New England Patriots are my 31st favourite team in the NFL.
Oh, there we are.
Keeping it positive.
Not bottom then.
No, well, we've already discussed my 32nd favourite team in the league.
We have way back. Anyway, we go down the bayou to Louisiana, and we go to the New Orleans Saints. Art Chesner Sports Performance Center in Metairie, Louisiana. rookies have been there since today. They're there now because they're over in the States, and the veterans are a little bit early. Kind of having their breakfast maybe, and veterans in on Tuesday. Yeah, interesting. I kind of interested in what's going on with New Orleans. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock and let's discuss the Saints.
I mean, it's not that early in Louisiana. They're only like 6 hours behind us, so I don't think they're having their breakfast. Okay, another QB battle. Jameis Winston, the name that you love to say, and Taysom Hill in the battle of who the hell cares, because neither of them are really much good. The biggest story, I suppose, is Michael Thomas had off-season surgery and is likely to miss camp entirely. So the big story of camp is that he's not there and may not be there for week 1. So any kind of rapport that you're looking to build between our new QB and him is not going to exist. So your father says I reckon they plummet. I agree. I don't think this is going to be a good season at all for the Saints, and I don't think there's very much they can do about it in camp.
No.
Very slippery slope. Alvin Kamara is a big name. Can he still be a threat? I think teams have found an answer for him, and if the passing game doesn't exist, I don't think he does very well either. No. What do you think?
Well, no Breeze, no party, right? Drew Brees gone, but not forgotten, in the sense of he's retired from the NFL. I'm sure we'll see him doing punditry somewhere.
I think he works for CBS now. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So we'll see his face on there.
Maybe NBC, one of the C's.
Well, there we are. He's there somewhere. I'm sure we'll pick his face up, like I said. Shirley Davenport, who I have a signed ball of. Turner and Jordan can all improve, being some much needed experience to the squad. They've been there a couple of seasons now, each of them about 3 years, 2-3 years. I kind of agree with your father. I think Saints are just going to go.
On some breaking news, thank you, Bazinga Ludlam. While we've been on air, Yahoo Sports are reporting that Thomas could miss 12 to 16 weeks. Yikes. Wow, what is that? That's the whole season, right? Well, we're in week 30 something of the year, so
yeah, that's pretty much his season done before it started, isn't it? He might get back for the latter end, but he's going to have to go through, conditioning and stuff. So I can't. Yeah,
I mean, we're beyond our 2 minutes, but I suppose it's in a positive way. It's kind of a good thing for Winston and Hill that they don't have to worry about that. Like, he's not going to be there, so they don't have to think, I'm going to have to build rapport with this guy in the middle of the season. They can focus on getting to know other receivers, and I suppose that's some saving grace. But
yes,
dear oh dear.
Written off, I think, his season.
Now the New York Giants are next up. They are playing. They are reporting to camp at Quest Diagnostics Training Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which must be on the same grounds as MetLife Stadium.
Yeah,
there's not much else in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Rookies have been there for a while. They reported on the 21st. Veterans on Tuesday. Big year for the Giants, I think, and I'm sure Duff will peak up attention now as our resident Giants fan. 2 minutes for you, Matt. Yes. Here we go.
Yeah, like you said, Duff's our G-man. It'll be interesting to see how Daniel Jones does in camp. I'm not a fan of the guy, but I don't see him being pushed out by another quarterback threat, to be honest. Interesting. Daniel Jones is famous for having his glasses on, isn't he?
The thing about Daniel Jones, sorry to cut you off, but it's a make or break year for him. You're right, there's no one behind him that's going to threaten him, but I think it comes down to, do they draft someone different, or do they try and get into the sweepstakes for an Aaron Rodgers or somebody else come the end of the season? He needs to come out and start strong in camp.
Yes.
He's he's got Kenny Golladay now. That's who they've anointed as the number one receiver out of Detroit. And the other receivers really need to help him out. Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. They've added John Ross in free agency. They got Kadarius Toney. They drafted him way higher than I think they had any business doing.
Yeah.
But we need a clear number 2 behind Kenny Golladay to help him out. And Saquon Barkley is going to be a big kind of helping hand if he can come back from his torn ACL. But given that it was a pretty big injury, I can see the Giants being cautious with Barkley.
Yeah, I think they're going to use him sparingly to begin with, and not go. I think he's going to have quite light duties in camp. And probably light duties the first, or maybe 5-6 weeks of the season as well, depending on how well he's recovered from that torn ACL. But yeah,
I wouldn't draft him to your fantasy team. That would be my suggestion. I don't think.
Yeah, I'd leave him out.
Don't overspend on Barkley in your fantasy drafts. Duff thinks they made some good picks. I think you've made some good pickups as well. It's just whether they can all come together now. And I think you could have done better in terms of receiver. Kadarius Toney is going to be one to watch. He's a speedster, but I think they drafted him way too high. I think there were better options at receiver that would have helped the team a bit more.
I think Toney is my rookie to watch, even though he was not he's the biggest name out of the draft that they got.
Yes,
but yes. And we stay in the parameters of what's known as New York, and we go to everyone's favourite team from New York, the New York Jets. And they are at the Atlantic Health Training Center in Florham Park, New Jersey. Rookies have been there since the 20th. The veterans in on Tuesday, and they have a joint practice with the Philadelphia Eagles on the 24th of August. Interesting. Lots of change in at the Jets. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think there's going to be a lot of green at the joint practice. Very green between the Eagles and the Jets. Now, I think I can go out on a limb and say that the big story in the Jets is going to be Zach Wilson, second overall pick. He's got to start because there's nobody else there. He's going to be one of the few rookies that makes an immediate start. Not quite as ready for that as Trevor Lawrence is for Jacksonville, I'd suggest. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach Wilson is another of the rookies that hasn't signed their rookie tender yet.
Yes, he is.
Not quite sure why, what the hold-up is. Hopefully they can get that done before Tuesday.
Yeah.
They've got a new offensive coordinator in Mike LaFleur. He's got a very good track record of developing quarterbacks and developing offenses, so that's a good step in the right direction. But they've got a very busy backfield. Somebody needs to step up as a clear guy for the Jets. Tevin Coleman is there now. Rookie Michael Carter, LaMichael Perrin, Ty Johnson. Who's it going to be? That's the question.
Yeah, and like I was saying, a lot has changed. Wilson, like we've said, is still unsigned. Maybe they like Mondays for signing contracts, so hopefully for Zach it gets done before camp. They've moved on from Adam Gase, which I know the Jets fans hated in the end, to Robert Saleh. So yeah, a lot of change going on with coaching. Change in at quarterback. I mean, there's not really anybody to challenge Zach Wilson, so surely he's going to be QB1. Interesting to see what the Jets do this season.
I'd forgotten about Robert Saleh. That's a man who has been long overdue a head coaching position. So best of luck to him. Hopefully he does well. Yeah,
I forgot about him until today.
That's how research works. So
absolutely.
Good job on that front. So we mentioned the Eagles already. They'll be in a joint practice with the Jets on the 24th of August. They themselves will host the Patriots for a joint practice on the 16th of August as they assemble rookies and veterans on Tuesday the 27th at the Philadelphia Eagles NovaCare Training Complex in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lots of stories to come from this one. Many changes need to happen. Let's talk about it. 2 minutes.
Yeah, so this is the Eagles, and they've moved on from Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts, who was there last season anyway, so no real change there. It's going to be interesting how Jalen Hurts has progressed, I guess, and how he goes through camp. That's, interesting for the Eagles faithful, whatever you call yourselves, fan base. Do they have any players that are dead certainly to make that cut? I'm not sure before going into camp, because I know a lot of teams maybe pick 4 or 5. They'll say, "Yep, dead cert, and you can come in." And there's no question on moving forward, regardless of contract situations. It's I don't like the Eagles really, but I'm positive about them. I can't wait for them to host the Patriots in a joint practice.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. There's a lot of questions about who's in starting positions, and I think that goes across the board. There are still questions about Jalen Hurts. He'll probably start this year and get that opportunity to prove himself. He's got a nice shiny new target in Devontae Smith. I can see that paying dividends. Smith's a fantastic receiver, but every other position is pretty much up for grabs, and that, even as far as I'm concerned, goes to a running back where you would expect Miles Sanders to be a lock, but I don't know, not necessarily as far as I'm concerned. They've got Kerryon Johnson, another person who's run screaming from the Detroit Lions. They've got Jordan Howard, who has come up on this show a fair bit. I rate Jordan Howard very highly. And they've also got Boston Scott and rookie pick Kenneth Gainwell. So even at running back, it's not a dead cert for position. So I see what you were trying to say in a very roundabout way.
Yes. My I don't do anything direct with football.
You did beat around the bush a little bit, just a touch.
Yeah, just a tiny bit, So anyway, I know we've spoken there about the Eagles, and we move from the Eagles to the Steelers.
Just down the road.
And just down the road, they are using Heinz Field and the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex, both in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Rookies are already there and have been since the 21st. Veterans in on Tuesday. No details on any joint practices as of yet. More changes? More of the same? What do we think?
It's mostly going to be more of the same, as my mouse refuses to work. We're preparing, I suppose, for the inevitable breakdown of Ben Roethlisberger. So the question is, who is the heir apparent? Who's going to replace him when the time comes? Is it someone that's currently on the roster? We're going to have the battle of Mason Rudolph versus Dwayne Haskins for that backup position. Haskins wants a second chance. He seems resolute to get that, other than being beaten up by his wife and having to call the police about that, which is a bizarre story in and of itself. Obviously, the Steelers listened to me when I insisted that they draft Najee Harris at running back. So he needs to hit the ground running, both figuratively and literally, and take some relief off Roethlisberger. Will Big Ben make it through this season?
Well, I can't wait to see Big Ben fall over or fail. Nothing personal against the guy. He's just been around too long. Maybe he needs to go and coach high school football or take up something else. Got couple of suggestions. Fishing, that's kind of my go-to for.
It is your go-to, isn't it? Yeah.
I love telling people to go fishing. I don't know what it is. It's not even like I hate the guy.
Do you like the
not
game
like
Go Fish? Is that one of your favourite games?
No. Just like telling people to do something unproductive with their lives. The quarterback battle is going to be interesting, to say the least. I see Dwayne Haskins coming out of it on top.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's Haskins' job to lose, really.
Yeah.
Nice for someone to get a second chance. He certainly didn't deserve the starting position in Washington, but
no.
I'm all for second chances. We'll see how he goes.
Yeah.
Here's another that some people in the chat have been waiting for. The San Francisco 49ers, who themselves are at the inspiringly named San Francisco 49ers training facility. I wonder how they came up with that name, man.
I know.
So clever.
Inspired.
In Santa Clara, California. Rookies and veterans both report on Tuesday. Another shiny new QB. Let's talk about it. 2 minutes.
Yeah, as you said, another QB battle in the camp. Has Jimmy G still got it? Has he got the QB1 tied down? Or can Trey Lance challenge for real? I don't know. I've not seen enough of Trey Lance. Jimmy G has had it tough, I guess, last season. It's not really looked himself since they lost the Super Bowl.
No.
It's almost like it knocked his confidence, and that was it. There's a lot of talk of Jimmy G being traded to New England. Didn't happen. I'm not saying that he wouldn't be welcome, but I think he'd be a little bit further down the pecking order. Yeah. Do they have a chance of improving on their awful season last time round? It's a lot of questions flying around. Yeah, what do you think?
I do think they improve, mainly because I don't think they can have that run of bad luck 2 years in a row. The injury bug definitely bit last year. We've got a lot of guys coming back healthy. Bazinga Ludlam, a Niners fan, says in the chat, no QB battle, Jimmy will start 100%. I agree, mainly because I think, as you mentioned, we don't really know anything about Trey Lance, so he needs to sit a year and develop. And they need to kind of build Jimmy G back up so that they have him as trade bait at the end of the season.
Yeah.
If things start out well for the Niners and they go on a run with Jimmy G, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Jimmy's traded before the trade deadline. If things are going wrong for another team around the league and all they need is a quarterback, a good kind of game managing quarterback to fill the slots, we could see them go mid-season to Jimmy and move over to Trey Lance in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
A lot can happen. They could flip him Alex Smith style, says your father. Yes, although hopefully he'll do a bit better this year than Alex Smith did in his entire tenure in San Francisco. And it won't take him going elsewhere to perform.
No. But we
almost used my time out then. Almost.
Oh, was it worth it? Maybe not this time. But we move on from San Francisco and we go to Washington and to the Seattle Seahawks. They're in Virginia, Mason Athletic Center in Renton, Washington. Both rookies and veterans are in on Tuesday. Again, no news on a joint practice with anybody. What do we think? Should we put up that famous clock and give us 2 minutes?
Should we have another 2-minute warning, as the name of this show suggests? Is Russell Wilson pissed off or not? I think he needs to make his mind up. Myself, he's been both ready to leave Seattle, and he also never wanted to leave Seattle, sometimes simultaneously, which is impressive. I don't know how you can be on both sides of the spectrum at the same time. But he's got a new offensive coordinator. That might help keep him happy. Has his offensive line improved? I'm not convinced. They've got Stone Forsyth, an offensive tackle rookie from the draft. They picked up Gabe Jackson from free agency, re-signed Ethan Pochik and Cedric Ogbuehi, but he wasn't particularly enamoured with his offensive line to begin with, so I don't think re-signing people, grabbing a rookie in what was, I think, the 6th round, he wasn't convinced before.
No.
Is he really going to be convinced now? Maybe the better defence that is hopefully coming will help matters slightly, but yeah, maybe Wilson's back on the trade block by the end of the year.
Maybe. Another name that's gone from. I know Wilson hasn't gone from the team, but another name to come out of leaving Seattle is Shaquille Griffin, famous for being a one-handed player. And that's what he's famous for. Shaquille Griffin, fantastic cornerback, but however now he's moved on in free agency, and I think he's gone somewhere like Miami, something like that. It came out earlier, but yeah, there's going to be a battle there. They need to tie down number 3 wide receiver. Is that going to go to rookie Dwayne Eskridge? And still no contract extension for Jamal Adams.
Yeah. Jamal Adams.
That guy moved from the Jets, didn't he?
He
to
did,
Seattle.
yeah, quite famously.
Last season. Threw his toys out the pram and went over social media and peed on their parade. But
he's going to cost them a lot. I'm not sure he remains beyond this season. I don't know. They gave up a lot to get him as well, so it would be a waste from their point of view if that didn't happen. But our 2 minutes is up. We need to shut our mouths and move on to the reigning champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we get to the tail end of our list. We're down in the T's now. The Bucs are at Advent Health Training Center in Tampa, Florida. The rookies reported on the 20th, 5 days ago, and the veterans reported yesterday. They get to report slightly early because they are in the opening game of the season, the Thursday night kickoff game in early September. They host a joint practice with the Titans on the 18th of August. What do we think the Bucs need to do in training camp? 2 minutes.
Well, from what's been going on, Brady and the Bucs could get punished before the season starts because for not reporting an injury during last season. What the consequences? Is the suspension coming for Tom Brady, famous for being suspended with the New England Patriots, or do the Bucs get a hefty fine? We'll wait to see what the league office hand down. They still, however, have all the pieces. They signed up the bigger pieces to new contracts. Didn't really lose anybody of note. So Brady's got all the pieces still around him to challenge again, in my opinion. He was on social media earlier throwing pretty accurate 100% of the time into one of these ball things that throw it back at you. So yeah, he's still on form. Yeah.
I think the main thing that this story about the knee injury that he played with all the way through the Super Bowl proves is that the guy is human, and eventually it's all going to come crashing down and he's going to have to retire. So my eyes, with all of the other pieces still there in Tampa and the actual veterans being not quite so interesting to watch in camp, is who backs up Brady going into this season, because potentially they need to be ready to play that person at any moment's notice. So they've got Blaine Gabbert, Ryan Griffin, and rookie Kyle Trask. And there's going to be a battle there to see who's the number 2. And I'm actually looking forward to getting into preseason games and watching these guys. I don't think it's Gabbert. I think he had his opportunities. He was going to be a number 3 at best. So Griffin or Trask, who's the future when Tom Brady hangs it up?
Yeah. and he could potentially hang it up. I know he said he wanted another ring, didn't he? Not that he didn't haven't.
No, he hasn't got enough.
I showed you that ring, didn't I?
the giant ring, yeah.
Giant ring that opens up, and it's got this. It's got the Raymond James Stadium inside the ring. There we are. There we are. But we move on from the reigning champs, and we go down to Nashville, Tennessee, to the Tennessee Titans, and they are at the St. Thomas Sports Park in Nashville. Rookies reported on the 24th, so yesterday. Veterans in on Tuesday. Anything going on with the Titans?
There's this one guy. I think his name is Julio something.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Julio Jones, is that his name? He might have moved on from another team and joined them. Seriously, Julio Jones is with them. How does he settle? He had started to decline a little bit in Atlanta, especially last year. Can he return to his previous form, catching passes from Tannehill? That's going to be a camp story, I think. And if he does return to form, Julio opposite AJ Brown could be a lethal combination. Or if it doesn't work and they put too much stock in Julio, it could all come crashing down. So let's watch that in camp. What else would you like to see there?
Well, camp's going to be interesting with what how things work out for Julio for definite. Like you said, he's come across. It's a changing colour, the uniform for the guy. I hope he gets his form back. He was always an exciting watch. There was a lot of talk about him going here, there, and everywhere. He was pretty much mentioned in every team. He got mentioned of going over to New England and got all the fans excited. It just wasn't going to happen. I don't think he would have really. Maybe that's one place he wouldn't have fitted in that scheme. He'd have had to change a lot of things around him to fit him in. Where in Tennessee, I think there's more chance of him fitting in, him and AJ Brown succeeding, and maybe going forward this season, really pushing some playoffs.
Yeah. I'm going to enjoy watching it.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see how it goes.
One to watch.
And now, finally, after almost 2 hours, we come to our final team.
Yes, we do.
We move to the Washington football team, who still don't have a new name.
No.
They're at the mouthful known as the Ben Secours Washington Football Team Training Center in Richmond, Virginia. Everybody reports on the 27th, on Tuesday. What do we think about the WFT in our final 2 minutes of the day?
Well, as you said, no name change yet. However, again, this name change has been brought up, but nothing is going to be settled on until 2022. So we haven't got that long to wait, and that's at the earliest. But yeah, if anybody in the chat has got ideas. I mean, me and Jez came up with names way back when they changed from the old name to the Washington football team. But yeah, you can put your answers on a postcard and send them to Jez. He likes post. QB2 battle for sure here. Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, whatever you want to call the guy. Bring much needed experience under centre. Yeah, but I think it's a QB2 battle. That's going to be exciting.
It is, and actually, the guys that they have in that backup position, I'm quite excited to see what both of them can do. Taylor Heineke of XFL fame, he got a bit of an opportunity last year when Alex Smith went down and they got rid of Dwayne Haskins, and he did really well. Kyle Allen has done well in the past in Carolina and came over with Ron Rivera. So that's a good battle. I'm excited to see that again. Something to watch in the pre-season games. It's year 3 for Terry McLaurin.
Yep.
Highly rate Terry McLaurin, and I think he can shine with Fitzmagic throwing balls to him. Curtis Samuel's come over from Carolina, as Rivera seems to want to reunite his old team. Can he fit in Washington? Antonio Gibson at running back did really well last year. I think he can continue to improve. So let's watch him, see what happens there, and if there's somebody that can back him up. Yeah. Can't believe the Cleveland baseball team managed to sort a new name so much faster than the Washington football team. I think the difference there, Bazinga Ludlam, is desire to change the name.
Yes.
And
the fact that
Mr. Washington football team wasn't really interested in changing the name.
Yeah, and the fact that now Jeff Bezos has left his ownership in Amazon and now is going after the WFT. So there we are.
Yeah. And the other issue obviously is the Cleveland baseball team didn't have all of their potential names stolen by some enterprising dude who copyrighted everything. So there is that.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember that story now. Actually, what a dude to do that.
I don't know if there's been any developments on that, but that still makes me chuckle now. So
yes, absolutely. What a guy.
Well, Matt, we did it.
We did it.
All 32 teams and their camp stories and what we're looking forward to in camp thoroughly discussed. And it did go a lot quicker than I was expecting.
Yeah.
We've finished under 2 hours.
Yeah. Consider, we chat and stuff.
Yeah. We don't tend to stay on topic the entire time. It must be said. So I am surprised we've got there this quickly, to be frank.
Yes. Good job, I haven't got work in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, after 3 streams today and dealing with everything else, I'm definitely looking forward to going to bed. I'm going to go straight up to bed now. My head is actually pounding, so I would like to pat myself on the back for keeping the energy through this episode.
If I had a hat, I'd take it off because you had. In fairness, I was watching you first thing this morning with your Olympic stream with your father, and you did a bit of the kickboxing and
judo.
All sorts. Judo. That's the one. Judo.
Throwing people around. Yeah.
Throwing people around. I did watch a bit of that actually. I watched the bronze medal match. There we are. Which ended quicker than I expected. But that's the nature of judo.
It's been a great day, but it's been a long day. Yes. So we will bid you adieu here on 2 Minute Warning. Thanks to everyone that has joined us, not only today for episode 50, but for any of our previous episodes. Whether that be live here on Twitch as we record, or if you listen later in podcast form, or watch later on YouTube or anywhere else, truly appreciate you joining us and lending us your ears and eyes for our little high-paced podcast. Not sure when we'll be back. We're going to be off air for a few weeks again. You're going away on holiday. And we'll let the training camps get thoroughly started and get into the pre-season games, and we'll probably be back towards the latter end of August to preview the season and get ready for kickoff in September.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, watch this space. If you are not in our Discord server, do join in. We do on occasion discuss a bit of the NFL there. Various other things as well, so it's well worth joining in conversation. And we'll see you soon.
Yes, we will.
Nothing else left to say other than good night. Yeah. I'm going to bed. So thank you for joining us. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.
And good night. Yeah, that's it. Bye. My brain hurts.